Pahlavi text translated by E.W. West, Part 4. Contents of the Nasks, Clareton, Oxford University Press, 1892. Dinkard, Book 9, Chapter 29, 1. The sixth Vargard, Kshma Ibya, is about the complaint of Gos Urvan to Uharmazd, when she sat at the creation in the assembly of the archangels, as regards the abundant disease and misery which she saw spiritually would come upon her in a bodily existence, through beating, slaughtering, and wounding, stealing, plundering, and presenting, by him of vicious actions and worse desires, as a bribe to him who is an evil ruling villain, Mar, and the operation thereof, the bad ownership, wrongful investigation, false evidence, and making captive, vertico, by him who is wrathful and oppressive through greed and envy, from the warm cowshed and effective and diligent guardianship of the herd's dog, passus haurvo, to that which is a cold and hastily constructed place, are by him who is seeking meat with the merciless hand, through making her distantly separated from her young. 2. Also their explanation and extenuation, castano, and the causing of misery of many kinds thereby, which is no affliction to them, when the wind that is cold, or even that which is hot, comes upon me, which is no affliction to them, when, the untimely offspring of my womb, being cast away, they slaughter me, and is no affliction to them, when the serpent, the leech, coon, the ra'i, or even the foulest of noxious creatures, gnaws me. 3. And the petition of Gos Urvan was thus: do not appoint me to a worldly existence and that awful misery, or, if thou appointest me to a worldly existence, produce it for me without life, uzustaniha, so that I may be without feeling, and may want that distressing pain. It is created for the mighty, through whose assistance there is a capability of affording protection to me, even though the Ka'i and Karap exist. 4. And together with the just complaint of Gos Urvan and the compassion of the archangels as to that complaint, there is then the creation of the creatures, among whom the greatest and best is mankind, their fighting and subduing the destroyer, even though joined together with the complaint of wounding and affliction, like that of Gos Urvan, and Gos Urvan arose with greater judiciousness than an absence of creation, even with freedom from disturbance by the Ka'is, on account of the necessity of preparing for the living of mankind through the assistance of cattle. Gos Urvan was produced for the material bodily existence and assistance of mankind. 5. And on account of little feeling for her worldly misery, the breeding Mayini Dano of cattle was the arraying of strife, the advancement of the monster-worshipping religion of Zarathustra in the world by Gos Urban, on the production of Zarathustra for the assistance of cattle and the preservation of cattle and other good creations through complete satisfaction at the progress of the religion. 6. This too was said to Gos Urban, that is, I assert unto thee the passing away of devastation, that is, the existence of a remedy for the misery owing to the evil spirit, for which no creature would be produced by me who am Uharmazd, when a remedy for me, for the misery owing to him, had not been known to me. 7. This too, that the wish of the evil spirit was thus: thou shouldest never produce a creature Uharmazd, and There should be here no spiritual lordship, no priestly authority, and no desire for perfect righteousness. R. Necessity for duty and good works. 8. The inquiry of Gos Urvan thus, for whom am I appointed and formed? And the reply to her thus, for him who is diligent and moderate. 9. Also the friend and nourishment, Sra beg for cattle, by Gos Urvan, the righteous man, produced for the assistance of cattle by Harmazd, and the sweetness in water and plants for the nourishment of cattle, so that he is privileged to feed and keep cattle, who gives them pasture in reality, and is also diligent in the production of cattle, that as he gives them pasture, and is thereby proclaimed a cattle guardian, Pasus Ha'urbo, for them who makes the cattle fully develop, and also he who gives the wicked wrath, the foreigner, a beating, so that he may make him stupefied. 10. The development of cattle by Harmazd, advice to mankind as to moderate eating, and the grievous bridge judgment of him who has unlawfully produced distress for the cattle whom Gos Urvan is kindly regarding with loving eyes. In the spiritual existence and bodily contact with Ham Herpoi, the archangels, and in bodily contact with the light of the sun, so that her hands are more powerful, she who replies to the sacred beings, and the sacred beings reply to her. 11. About the statements of Harmazd, there is this too, that is, I am a calculator of those words, by which they assert that the existence of the worldly beings is for the sake of that of both existences. I am aware of actions which are practiced by those in the material existence, both demons and men, of whatever they practice. I am the decider and lord, and it is such as my will requires, even for the last change of existence, and I look upon all that with that wisdom and sagacity of mine, which was, which is, and which ever will be. 12. The formation of a reward for worldly beings by Harmazd through the perpetuous liturgy Mansarsspend, which has become the precursor of the benefactors. That is, their high priest, who has a perpetuousness and intelligence that are all beneficial, is he with the liturgy. 13. And about the uniqueness and incomparableness of Zarathustra among mankind, through his desire for righteousness, and his understanding the means of defeating the destroyer, and teaching the creatures. 14. Righteousness is perfect excellence. Now, one of the things that the prophets have even been criticized about, from Zarathustra to Muhammad, is this animal rights bit. But even the plants will testify as to, in verse 6 it says, when a remedy for the misery owing to him had not been known to me. Well, whenever you know of a remedy and even pass it on, much less use it, that is for your benefit. And in verse 12, the precursor of the benefactors, well, in order for the beneficial decision to be made, there needs to be the beneficial means. And I don't know where, other than like the book of Job, but there's some biblical references to this host of heaven stuff. And verse 1 making the animals, well, the cow existence being part of that. That's, sort of typical to Indo-Iranian mythology. But does that mean that the cow is their god? No, that doesn't mean the cow is their god. I mean, there's people who worshipped anything, but yeah.